I am the Lord of Heckfire. They made me censor it for television.
Hi, this is Roland Korshidian-Zada with you today for another episode of Streaming to the Stars. We'll be talking about Star Trek once again.
And I'm Candace, and so we're finally back, you know?
Yes, we are. It's been a few months, but we're back in action.
Yeah, it's been crazy. Okay, so...
Yeah, speaking of something that's going to be back, Star Trek Picard.
Yeah, we got Star Trek Picard. In fact, this whole concept of this episode started because of a conversation about the new trailers for Star Trek Picard. So I'm excited to see it. You're excited to see it. And the thing is, there are a lot of really smart people who are very good at speculating. And if you're not careful and you watch some of these speculator videos, it might, because some of their research and some of their digging is so good, they might have actually spoiled some of the episode. Now, you don't want to get, or the show, the plot and everything, right?
Yeah, we're going to be talking about 2 episodes later on from the original Star Trek and The Next Generation.
That recently, we have another idea. Yeah, we have a different idea. So the premise in a lot of these speculations is that there's a new character in the Picard show.
Yeah, her name is Daj. And she is played by Isa Briones. And Star Trek Picard is premiering January 23rd, 2020. And Daj is this woman who people speculate might be part Borg, but she might not be. But she's come to Picard because she's in danger. And then Picard goes to the Starfleet admirals to ask for help. And then that doesn't go over too well. And then Picard gets in league with this ragtag crew. And then they go off on whatever it is they're doing.
So the speculators have gotten into all kinds of details with this, and some of it is just so complex, but it could make sense. And there are speculations that this new character, Daj, is either his granddaughter or his daughter, right?
Well, it can't be granddaughter.
Granddaughter, daughter,
well,
even
maybe
a clone.
It could be.
People have brought up, the Romulans are definitely in this episode, in these episodes, in the trailers.
Yep, they are.
And so people have definitely heavily mentioned Nemesis as well. Right, but we had a different topic we talked about, which were based on other episodes, because a lot of people like to pull stuff from different series, right, and the film franchises as well. So the one that I mentioned, this was in the car, and he was like, I don't remember that, I don't know what you're talking about. So we went back and rewatched this episode of The Next Generation, and it's called The Perfect Mate. Surprise ending. So you want to get into that?
Yeah. The Perfect Mate is an episode that I hadn't seen since I was a kid, probably since when it first aired when I was 12. And there were certain things that happened in that episode that I never picked up upon because...
As a kid.
Yeah, they managed to avoid mentioning anything explicit, but there's this woman who comes onto the Enterprise who's being transported from one planet to another as an ambassador. To lead as a queen.
Okay, so it starts out that... Because the Enterprise, I mean, in some ways they're sort of libertarian, right? So they're non-intervention, right? And they're like cargo and whatever, even though they don't use money, but they do labor and transport and mail for other planets and whatever. So they're transporting this cargo to this specific destination. And then the Ferengi show up, right? And they want this cargo so bad. And it turns out that it's not cargo, but humanoid.
It's a humanoid.
A lady, a woman, right? And it's like this arranged marriage thing. So, of course, we have undertones and overtones of feminism, certain bits here and there, like with Dr. Crusher, because she gets very indignant. But mostly it's even like about people as property and things like that. The thing is, right, this woman, when she's around males of any species, alien, whatever, she starts adapting to whatever it is that they need or desire to become their perfect mate. And according to her biology, within a certain period of her life, the first person she mates with, she will adjust permanently to fit that person. But if she doesn't mate within that time after the fact, she will just adjust to anybody, correct?
Yeah, first she tries to act more like Commander Riker because he's the first male that she interacts with. And then afterwards she starts to emulate Picard more. And originally they didn't know that this woman was being transported as the cargo, because otherwise they probably wouldn't have agreed to carry this woman, because it's kind of like a sex trade.
Yeah,
you don't want to get into that.
It is. It's oftentimes uncomfortable. The thing is, the sexual tones in this film are oftentimes hinted at or joked about. And if you're younger, like we were when we first saw it, we didn't get it, right? But there is so many jokes in this, like after Riker meets, because Riker meets her and he falls right away and he realizes like that it's her biology. So he makes a joke about how he's going to be in the holodeck.
I don't even think that was a joke. Maybe he might have really gone and be like, I'll be in holodeck 4.
I know, but the writers wrote that as, that's definitely a comedy.
Oh, yeah.
The thing is, when she first shows up, she immediately goes straight to Picard because she has like an empathic kind of psychic sense that she's drawn to whoever's in charge, right? Mm-hmm. And Picard falls for her right away. The thing is, this episode is sort of like the Next Generation's take on the original series, right?
Yeah.
Which was called Elan of Troyes, which I don't want to get into yet. But it's a similar one. Instead of how Kirk dealt with things, this is how Picard would deal with things. And there's a lot of this like tricky hidden messages. If you watch it first one time, go back and watch it again after you see the ending. And the thing that I said in the car was, oh, that's the episode where Picard actually couldn't keep his virtue because he banged that girl.
Yeah, at first I was like, what are you talking about?
He was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, no, he banged that chick. He totally banged that chick. It's in the ending, right?
Yeah.
Right? And the way that they frame things, the way they use lighting, the way they use dialogue, it's so there. It is so there. He bangs her, okay?
Yeah, every time they're going to cut to Picard and, what is her name?
What is her name?
Kamala.
Kamala.
Every time Picard and Kamala look like they might be having sex, they cut to another scene.
Yeah, so
and then they imply everything in the dialogue afterwards.
They're interacting with each other. They're joyously friends. They're so it's so flirty. But Picard has his way of framing himself, and what you have to see is how he presents himself as the upstanding gentleman, the noble leader. He's so principled. So of course she's drawn to him so more than the others. This one, I feel like she made a conscious decision. Honestly, she's working him, but he's also working her. He sets up the situations, and he's like, no, I don't want you, which is like his way of saying he wants her, right? And then there's the way that the scenes are arranged, the dialogue goes, and the way that there's positioned within this frame. Mm-hmm. Then we do the fade outs. So by the time you get to the final scenes, we have where the guy who's her guardian, he's like, what, 200 or 300 years old?
200.
And he was chosen because at his age, he's less susceptible to, lust, right?
Yeah.
And so they infer that he's probably impotent or something, right? But he even confesses to Picard, he's like, it was so difficult to resist her. I don't know how you did. But he never answers. He never addresses it. He dodges the question.
He's just like, have a nice day.
And he's like, he's just like, oh, bye, see you later, right? Kind of thing, right? Because he banged her. Not only that, but she admits that she hopes that the guy she marries, like Shakespeare and these other things that he's into, right? And when you watch the wedding ceremony, you can see Picard's face. He's so guilty. He's so guilty.
It's like, I don't want to be here. He can't look.
He totally corrupted her.
Mm-hmm.
He totally did. So if anyone could be a potential lineage point, that's why because you said that the girl's too young to be a daughter, but it could be a granddaughter.
Well, no.
He's what, 90 in Picard, right?
No. This episode took place in 2368.
Okay, so 2368.
Picard's in 2399. Mm-hmm. So, assuming 9 months, this woman would be 30. I mean, I guess Daj could pass for 30. 30. But there's no way she
looks
15.
Too old. But it could be a granddaughter, though.
Well, if the daughter had a kid in high school, it could be. I mean, this actress, she looks like she's in her 20s. Well,
she's gotten married, so she's assumed to be, you know what I mean? Like, the whole point is mating. Like you said, it gets into the sex trade thing, right? So it's an uncomfortable topic. And
okay,
into these
I guess it's possible. But I would say she's probably closer to 20 than a teenager, so it would probably be his daughter, not his granddaughter.
His daughter. Okay, so you're saying that. Okay, but we also don't know the lifespan of that specific alien.
That's true.
So it could be either daughter, granddaughter, even great-granddaughter. Who knows, depending on the lifespan of these specific aliens.
So here's my question for you. Where does she get her super strength from? Because it doesn't look like Kamala was that agile.
So she has super strength, you think?
Yeah, she's kicking the you-know-what out of the enemies.
I don't know. And then we have Romulans interfering. We also had people discussing, like, Nemesis and
Wait, I had a thought. If she's Picard's daughter from Kamala and she was in a Borg cube, she could have Borg enhancements, which is why she can be their daughter and still be able to do the things that she does in the trailer.
These are all just speculations, so we don't actually know. A lot of people are leaning towards like Nemesis, kind of the stuff like that.
The only thing is in Nemesis, there's no opening for Picard to do anything like there was in The Perfect Mate.
Well, some people are claiming like he and the Borg Queen had some kind of reproduction.
The Borg Queen wasn't in Nemesis.
Or the other film, one of the other films.
That was First Contact.
So Nemesis
she did it with Data, not with Picard.
The clone Picard. It's like an evil Picard, evil Picard clone with full lips, you know. Because when we watched this episode again, it reminded you of Elan of Troy from the original series.
Elan of Troy, yes.
So we watched it. No, it does actually have a lot of tones from the mid-20th century, right? America. The girl who plays, what's her name? You have it?
That is France Nguyen, who played Elan.
Okay, so this really hot chick.
Yeah, she looks Egyptian.
Really hot chick. She looks sort of Egyptian and Asian and African. It looks like a mix of all these different ethnic groups. This really hot chick in like go-go outfits and really like, oh my God, like disco and 60s, and it's super glam. She shows up, and when she first shows up, she's like this brat, right?
Yeah.
And she's one way, but then Kirk, the captain in that series, he straight up hooks up with her. He can't help himself, right?
Yeah, that's the difference between Kirk and Picard.
Yeah.
Kirk is a ladies' man, whereas Picard tries to hide it.
And then after he hooks up with her, her personality completely changes.
Yeah, because the guard was apparently this gruff person.
Yeah,
and now she's
she was hooking up with the guard, so her personality was more in line with the guard and pleasing him. So she was belligerent because the guy is very like gruff and aggressive, right?
And then she becomes more cordial afterwards.
She becomes more cordial, more flirty in a way. Like it's more flirty, I think.
Yeah.
She's very seductive. She's more calm. She's
just
a completely different character. She hooks up with Kirk, and she's a different person, like completely different. And also her approach to things is different, right? And in this story, if her tears get on you, it's like a chemistry thing. It's different. Whereas in the Next Gen one, it was like pheromonal, like you smell her, and even there's like a psychic aspect as well, and you start being attracted to her through the pheromones, like because she smells good or whatever, smells attractive to you, right? Now there are just certain things in that episode that are dated, like a few points in time where they reference spanking, but it gets actually kind of fetishized.
Yeah, it turns kinky afterwards.
It turns kinky at the end, and
it's like, how did they get away with that in 1968?
And here's
Tell me about a spanking.
I mean, so I was at Comic-Con and I photographed Bill Shatner, and I had a really good impression of him. But we've worked with people who also worked on him and had a bad experience with him. I've mostly heard bad experiences from people who worked with him or fans and so on, right? So I don't know what Bill Shatner is actually like, but on camera and in character, he is an amazing actor. I love him as the character of Kirk, whether it's the series or the films. I think he's a really good actor. I know some people hate his acting, but he's an actual thespian. He's an actual like high class actor. He did theater and everything, and I love his acting style.
He just would play things up to make it more entertaining, depending upon the episode or the tone of it. If you look at Star Trek II:
Yeah.
The Wrath of Khan, that's one of his best performances.
It's like he goes over the top like that because he's from a stage actor.
Yeah.
Background.
The directors, if they know what they want to get out of Shatner, they can get him to deliver what they want, but otherwise he has his own specific style, and it's to just be emotive and to get people engaged. When you watch, he wants you to feel entertained.
Yeah,
that's what he wants.
It's definitely entertaining. He's definitely eye-grabbing. He was one of my, because I watched it in the 80s into reruns, and I loved Captain Kirk. I looked up to the character. I also liked Spock. There's so many good characters in that show. And I mean, Uhura, like all the comic relief and everything. I liked the perfect mix of how things were mixed. And even as we were watching it's a remastered version.
Yeah,
so
we were.
So it's more widescreen. And the actors and everything is very diverse. It's not just all white people. It's anything you can think of. I mean, Gene liked diversity. He was a very cosmopolitan guy.
Yeah, they were very much on the ball with that,
Yeah.
especially in a time when you wouldn't see that much diversity.
Do you have any comments about the ending of that episode?
I have comments about the similarities in the
Okay,
episodes.
go for it. Go for it.
Because I listed like 5 of them, and I'm sure I didn't get them all.
Go for it.
The ambassador is injured in both. The one who's representing the lady on the Enterprise.
Which is why
in
we
both
feel like
episodes.
it's referenced from that episode, like inspired by or referenced
Yep.
from
There is an irresistible woman in both episodes, as you mentioned earlier.
the seductress.
One has pheromones, the other
The
has
other has
tears. Major Enemy has a minor role. In the original series episodes, it's the Klingons. In the Next Generation episode, it's the Ferengi. And they're really just a speed bump. They're not the main plot. In both, the women are to be married. And in the first one, in the original series, Elan, she doesn't want to get married
Oh my
at
God,
all.
she's awful. In the first half of the series, I can't stand her. She's just really good looking.
Yeah.
Right? She's so attractive.
She's completely not ready to get married. It's like, how could she be a wife?
I know, right?
It's like, maybe you could wait 10 years or something.
She's the B word.
Yeah. Whereas in the Next Generation episode, Kamala, it looks like she was born for marriage, basically.
She's super diplomatic. She's educated. I felt like Elan was educated too, but she was so
She was
arrogant.
just spoiled.
Spoiled and
It's like the kid who misbehaves in class. That's what
Yeah.
she was like.
yeah. Also, she was in a bad mood, whereas Kamala was not in a bad mood. She was actually looking forward to it, but she clearly had a thing for Picard. Like,
Here's the thing.
She seriously was into Picard.
If they had the 2 episodes in mind,
Mm-hmm.
do you think that the writers of the Next Generation episode deliberately made Kamala to be the polar opposite of Elan, where they're like, okay, Elan's really nasty, so we'll make her really nice and mannered?
So that was like the Clinton era. Everything was very like PC and, like political correctness and
Yeah.
diplomatic and, business-minded. It's so funny how it has a lot of business-minded attitudes sort of stuff in Next Gen, even though they're like anti-financial system or whatever, right?
That's a whole other discussion
Right.
where we talk about the 60s versus the late
Yeah.
80s, early 90s. And it seems like the latter period was more conservative creatively than the former.
Yeah, the Next Gen actually it's funny because socially they're very socially liberal. They're very socially liberal, like they're into the arts, they're very open to different cultures and diversity and things like that. But I mean, they still break the Prime Directive constantly. Prime Directive is straight up libertarian, like it's straight up
Yeah.
libertarian.
Like, we're not going to help
Right.
you at all.
But they're
whereas
so-
Kirk would always break it in the original
Yeah,
series.
they're very liberal in other ways. And Kirk, I mean, it's very cowboy-like. It's very cowboy mentality, pioneers, and yet in other ways it has a different type of a conservatism to it. Obviously, so we do have Uhura, and she's depicted in like a good role, but we still have this sort of male dominance in most of the way that it's the framing of things. I
Yeah,
feel
that's
like.
a major problem.
Because you
with the
have like
original
always
series.
have the damsel in distress, or there's what is it, the 3rd season or 2nd season? It's just like it's a monster, kill it. It's a monster, kill it. It's a monster, kill it. You know.
Well, you had episodes like that in all 3 seasons, really. In the first season, you have the man trap, where you have this woman posing as McCoy's former lover, who goes on a rampage and kills everyone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, kills everyone that she encounters until she's stopped at the end, because she's sucking the salt out of people.
She's desalinating people. She's making people less salty.
Wow, I never thought about it like that, but there you go.
There you go. But I'm definitely excited to see the new Picard. Do you have any other comments on Picard, or?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's happened in the last 20 years in the 24th century, and I'm really interested in Picard's situation. I have a theory that Dr. Crusher actually died during whatever fateful mission it was before that Picard led. Apparently on the internet there are rumors that Picard led an unauthorized mission to save Romulans.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
And because it's unauthorized, that's why he's on the outs with Starfleet now, and why they tell him to leave and he's not on good terms with them. To the point where when he was going to Starfleet Command and he wanted to see an admiral, an ensign at the main door was like, "What's your name?" He didn't even know who he was.
Mm-hmm. So I've also seen bits of data in this. The data, I don't know I'm not sure if it's a dream sequence or...
Well, we see a dream sequence at first because Data and Picard, they're in their next generation uniforms and Data's painting.
Yeah.
But later on we see Data in the trailer and he's like, "I can see that, Captain." And he's clearly not in the next gen uniform.
We also see there's like a drawer and we have pieces of Data. So somebody collected Data's bits.
I have a theory. There was a casting sheet for Star Trek Picard looking for a holographic character, and I think that Data's memories that were transferred into B4, they were taken out, and now Data is going to be a hologram in the series.
Assimilated. This is one thing I don't understand, because like there's a film that I don't know if it just came out or if it's coming out with Will Smith, where they use technology. It's an Ang Lee film, and I like Ang Lee, and they used like facial tracking software to make Will Smith look like his self from the 90s.
Yeah, they did that with the sequel to Tron, where
Yeah.
They took the star and they made him look
Actually
younger. I
quite
forget his
good.
name.
I've seen it. It's actually quite good. The quality. I mean, it's still a little. At times, like I can still tell, but it's quite good, and it's based on technology that's not new. It's been around for many years.
Yeah.
I know you've seen some of the Star Wars stuff. When you had at the end of one of the new films, was it Rogue One? I think, where she's Leia says hope or something, right? But I've seen people with apps, like cell phone apps, redo that scene with the new tracking like apps and do a better job. So I'm kind of confused why they didn't try to go that route and they went with Brent Spiner and like the aged face kind of thing.
Well, the problem is you're talking about movies and Picard, even though it's an expensive TV series, it's still done on a TV budget. So it's above the normal TV show, but not quite to the point of the films in terms of budget. So it would be hard to use the de-aging makeup on him.
So do you think we should also comment on the Discovery? Because I know, because some people are trying to tie it into Discovery. I'm not sure if it goes or not.
It doesn't really tie into Discovery
Yeah.
because Picard is focusing on the Romulans and the Borg, whereas Discovery, spoiler alert, they're going 930 years into the future. And we see Cardassians, we see Lorians, we see Trill, and it looks like the Federation is not quite what it used to be when Discovery arrives.
So I have mixed feelings about Discovery. I haven't seen everything. I saw up to like where they got to like this evil universe kind of thing.
Yeah, the mirror universe.
The mirror universe, right? And I like the production quality. It's good cameras. We even have Jonathan Frakes directing some of the episodes, and it reminds me a lot of Event Horizon in many shots. Who ironically has an actor from that film in it.
Yep, Jason Isaacs.
Is there also like actors in Discovery from Alien or no? Which we're gonna do an episode on.
No, I don't believe there is an actress from Discovery from Alien, but they
any
do
of
have.
that franchise? No.
No, not as
Okay.
far. Wait, that's not true. Vasquez from Aliens, she was in the opening scenes of Star Trek Generations, but that's not what we're talking about.
I wanted to just mention this because no one ever talks about this, but if you watch Discovery from first episodes and one episode after the other rather than weekly, there's a character on there that's clearly pregnant. She gets more and more pregnant as the episodes go by.
Mary Wiseman, she
Yeah.
plays Tilly.
She looks so pregnant by like what, the 5th episode?
Yeah, I'd say so.
And then she just continues to look very pregnant. It's just that they clearly didn't shoot them on, in a month. They shot them over a period of time.
Oh yeah, it takes 6 months to shoot a season of each of these series.
Yeah.
With Picard, they started shooting in April of 2019, and then they wrapped in October. And Discovery, they just started shooting the third season in July, and right now they're only halfway through a 13-episode season, so they've only shot 6 episodes in 3 months. So it's like it takes 2 weeks to shoot an episode.
Well, the tone of Discovery is very like Game of Thrones version of Star Trek. It's really not like it's very different. It's unlike Star Trek, honestly. Even people say it's not even like DS9. DS9 really got kind of...
Well, it would be boring if all the Star Trek series
Right.
were the same. I mean, each one should have its own character. Like, Picard will have its own character. It's supposed to be like this serious, deep, dramatic type of series that basically plays like a 10-hour movie. So that will feel different from Discovery. And Star Trek Lower Decks, which is an animated series and it's a comedy, that'll be different. So all these shows, there'll be something a little bit different.
Okay, well, I guess that basically wraps that up for this episode.
Yeah, next week we'll be talking about the Alien films because...
Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll have watched all 4 of the first films.
Or
maybe,
next episode.
Maybe we'll throw in Prometheus
I don't know about
too.
next week, but next episode, so when stuff happens. But I don't know if you've noticed, we've updated the graphics. I did the graphics. It's been a problem. We've been working on it. So I did update the graphics. You can actually see the improvements of the graphics behind us right now. Like updated the intro. And I also have a film that I did, which I was going to premiere in this episode, but I'll probably have to wait till the next episode to do that.
How long is the film?
I don't even think it's 10 minutes. So I'm gonna be premiering my film that I worked on this year. It took me 8 months to create this film. It's called Sucre Forlorn. And if you want to see it now, it's already up on Newgrounds. I believe it's also on Vimeo and YouTube. But we just don't have it available for this episode. We've had a lot of troubleshooting to go through this year, to say the least.
We should definitely air that film in one of these episodes at some point, so look out for that soon.
That, and I have another television show that is just kind of keeps getting stuck in limbo. That's called A Spirit to Be Free, which we both worked on. A lot of the footage is sort of stuck on a drive, but I have 2 episodes of that ready. They just need to be broadcast. So.
I might as well mention something else that we're putting together.
Right.
It's a show called Creative on the Scene where we interview different artists, usually bands. We've got the Papa Joe Show on there, and we intermix performances, musical performances, with interviews with the actual band members, and we show a little bit of the location so you get a feel of the place and the concerts. And also, I post on Trek BBS. I'm Lord Garth. I've been there 20 years, and shout out to them. Hope you're watching.
And that's about it for today's episode. Other than, we're looking forward to the new Picard.
Yes, we are.
Which is coming out in January.
January 23rd, don't forget it.
January 23rd. I also follow various actors from the franchise. So I follow...
Such as?
Will Wheaton, Patrick Stewart. Those are the big ones I really follow. Oh, Brent Spiner. I definitely follow Brent Spiner. He's actually quite funny. He's a hilarious guy. He's not that serious like Data. And then I also follow George
Takei?
Yes. I think he's very popular, honestly. I think he's probably one of the most popular ones.
Yeah, he had a following on Facebook for a while. What's he on these days?
On Twitter, he goes strong every day. He's actually very popular with political commentary, believe it or not. He's very popular with political commentary.
He is.
I definitely watch that. He also posts comedy. He posts funny little jokes and this and that. He's not a fan of the president.
We'll also be talking about the 2020 election at some point. Not on Spinning on the Stars, but elsewhere.
Yeah, probably. We might even go on the scene and shoot some stuff. So.
All right, so we'll see you next time. Yay.